Welcome to your all-active Reserve and Veterans TV series. This information education show has three goals: tell who military veterans are, share about all organizations, auxiliaries, their programs and officers at all levels, and tell about memorials in all the cities we serve in this network. The VA system, state and county officers, hospitals and state homes are also featured. Please do check out our websites. Share your program ideas and concerns via the contact information on the show. We open each month's show with a patriotic theme.
If tomorrow all the things were gone, worked for all my life, and I had to start again, just my children and my wife, I thank my lucky stars to be living here. 'Cause the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today.
Thank you for joining us once again for Vets Visits on TV. This is program number 164. You probably noticed our patriotic opening was The Puppets. It was done at a Veterans Day program of last year, and we'll hear excerpts from that program a little bit later in the program. This is our co-host.
I'm Brad Lindsay, Olmsted County Veteran Services.
And I'm Jerry Barnhart, the founder-producer of the program. So glad that you could be with us. So now some dates in history. The 10th of this month, the Marine Corps was established in 1775. The 11th, of course, is Armistice Day, remembering World War I and the ending of that tragic war. The 12th of the month, in 1942, the Battle of Guadalcanal. And then the 19th, in 1967, the Battle of the Hill 875 during the Vietnam War. The fourth Thursday, of course, is Thanksgiving, and we do have much to be thankful for in this country, besides just having usually enough to eat. We know that there are many, tragically, who are starving as well. The 25th in 1950 was the first major battle with the Chinese in the Korean War. And that battle took place in the Chosin Reservoir. Now, Brad, bring us our first feature, please.
Jerry and I hope that you are able to attend a local Veterans Day program. Part of this month's show are excerpts Jerry taped from last year. Harley Flathers, a retired radio personality, is the MC. We begin with a welcome from Police Chief Roger Peterson.
I am happy to be here today, though, and here's why. My father was career military, and he did 3 tours in Southeast Asia. And when he'd leave and come home, we got a hug. But we kind of did that Norwegian guy thing, and we never talked about what that meant. And when I grew up and I put on a different kind of uniform, I got a hug. And we didn't talk about what that meant. And when my kids grew up and they joined the military and they would leave for their deployments and come home, they got a hug. And we didn't talk about what that meant. Didn't need to, it was understood. Well, Wayne Stillman is not going to let me come down there and give every one of you a hug. So I'm just going to tell you what that means. It's not a thank you, although a thank you is appropriate. And it is not appreciation, although appreciation is certainly merited. And it is not even gratitude, although gratitude is certainly deserved. What it meant and what this means today is something that I feel is even more important and much more enduring. Respect. The utmost respect for who you are, what you have done, and the choices you have made. For that, God bless you, and welcome to today's program.
Chief of Police Roger Peterson has had 2 sons serving with the 101st Airborne Division. And we thank you, Roger, for all you do.
As a result of severe flooding in parts of the state, the Minnesota Department of Veterans Affairs is offering flood relief grants for reimbursable expenses to veterans in approximately 35 Minnesota counties, southern Minnesota primarily. The most severe damage is focused on Blue Earth, Goodhue, Martin, Olmsted, Rice, Steele, and Wabasha counties. Veterans, their families, and surviving spouses may be eligible for reimbursement assistance funds of up to $750 if they have not received FEMA or other assistance. Veterans and their families should contact their local county veteran service officer for more information and request a flood relief grant. If you are unaware of who your CVSO is, you can go on the web at minnesotaveteran.org or call 1-888-LINK-VET. All eligible applications and copies of receipts must be dated between the disaster time frame as designated by the governor and or FEMA, and the applications must be submitted postmarked by December 31st of this year.
That's very valuable information for Minnesota, but in other states that could also be applicable as their particular governmental agencies decide that that's a possibility. So
right. Case by case. Minnesota didn't have a program until the actual need arose, and then they quickly developed one for it. Sure.
with all of the disaster along the Pacific coast and the Atlantic coast, there certainly is some real
Correct.
need. Okay, let's go to our next feature. Mr. Flathers will next introduce a soloist who shares a well-known song of faith. We'll also hear the last few statements of the main speaker, who is part of the military yet in his career, and he's also the commander of the Rochester, Minnesota VFW post. His name's Zach Gore. We'll conclude with the introduction of Jane Balow, an excellent pianist and poet. So let's check in on some more of that Veterans Day program for you, especially who aren't able to attend a specific program in your area.
No Veterans program is really complete without Jane Balow at the piano, and she's here to accompany Raul Helmasco with the song of inspiration, You Raise Me Up. Raul.
For you, and thank you all for your sacrifice and your service to the nation. God bless you all. When I am down and oh my soul so weary, when troubles come and my heart burden be, then I am still and waiting in the silence until you come and sit a while
You raised me up so I can stand on mountains. You raised me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. There is no life without its hunger. Each restless heart beats so imperfectly. But when you come and I am filled with wonder, sometimes I think I glimpse eternity. You raised me up so I can stand on the mountains. You raised me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up to more than I can be.
Things that we should remember. Whenever there's an outreach hand, let us lend them ours to grab. Whenever there's despair, let us offer hope. Whenever there's evil, let us trample it with justice. And whenever there's a person who has lived through hell, let them see the promised land. I'm proud for the opportunity to serve my country and honored to have been among an elite group of individuals who answered the call to defend my nation when we were called upon to go to war. I am blessed to return home in the desire to continue my service and stand as a benchmark for those to follow. And I pray to live a happy and fulfilling life. I'm a veteran, and I thank my fellow veterans today. Thank you.
Jane Balo is what we call a treasure to Rochester and southeastern Minnesota. If she hasn't been called a treasure, then I'm going to name her as Jane Treasure Balo right now. She's the poet laureate of the Soldiers Field Veterans Memorial. She has composed many songs. She has accompanied hundreds and hundreds of events. Every Monday forenoon and every Thursday forenoon in the Gonda building, she is there playing the piano as people listen and participate. Heavens, there was even a musical song player there once. Not yet, Jane. Not ready. But we just so appreciate all she does. So now, she's going to give us, she'll narrate her own poem, It Matters Not Which War.
And when I'm really lucky playing the piano at the clinic, Harley Fathers come to this saw. All right. Our veterans. It matters not which war. It matters that they served. Our gratitude to them is great and well-deserved. All veterans share a bond unknown by any others, from home to war and then beyond. Experiences from which one never quite recovers. A call was heard from a nation in need. Each answered and left the comforts of home. Relentless training and preparation in the midst of many, each all alone. Firing weapons at enemy soldiers seeking refuge in foxholes or tanks. Witnessing carnage among new friends, no chance of saying goodbye or thanks. Some came home welcomed as heroes, others reviled in an unpopular war. Others were fallen soldiers buried where they fell. Some are wounded warriors who will always hear that battle's roar. Veterans share a deep and visceral bond, unaffected by the mere passage of time, of a common devotion to defense of their country, to the stoic acceptance of fate, resigned. And we who miss them and joyfully welcome them home and kiss them, or tearfully carrying flags and coffins, said goodbye, that we all owe them, no one can deny. A thank you, a touch, a smile, a hug, helps tell them their gift was worthwhile and appreciated. To the families whose loss and grief demand our respect and belief, who made the ultimate sacrifice, paid the highest price. To those families and to all of you veterans, we promise and assure you that we will never forget. Never, not ever.
As time permits, Jerry takes us to the offices of two Veterans Employment Representatives. We'll hear how they assist with skills to obtain a job and how they approach a prospective employer to learn what's open to veterans.
The local Veterans Employment Representative here at the Rochester Workforce Center.
In Olmsted County.
Correct.
Okay, and there are comparable positions like yours in other states, counties?
Yes.
Okay, and who's your cohort here?
This is Dwight Jones. He's the DVOP, the Disabled Veteran Outreach Program.
And you both are veterans, are you not?
Yes.
And what is your era so that people can identify with you?
I'm from the Vietnam era.
I'm from the Gulf War era.
Okay. Now, what is your actual position? What is a job description?
Okay, I deal with mostly deal with veterans. I try and find help them find jobs. We talk a lot about issues they might have One of the things, recently separated veterans are not aware of how to civilianize their work experience, how to get the terminology away from the military terminology to civilian terminology. A lot of them have excellent experience, excellent skills, but they have a problem selling those skills because of their military background.
Okay, and just where do you take them in the journey toward rehab in a job position?
Well, we don't. We work with them on an individual basis. We work with their resume. We give them suggestions as to perhaps companies that they could apply to that would use their skills, and we try and solve any issues they have. We make sure that everything is taken care of as far as the VA is concerned, that they've gotten, if they have any issues about disabilities, that they make sure they're taking care of those. But basically, we're here to try and help them find a job.
Mm-hmm. And in the meantime, say they just come in like off the street and have just been discharged and have nothing. Do you help them get established in a particular community in Olmsted County or anything of that nature?
No, we don't work with them that much. The County Veterans Service Officer would probably be responsible for that. When they come in here, if they're just recently separated, they're in all likelihood going to be eligible for unemployment, so they'll have some income to continue, and they can receive that income while they're getting situated, getting their feet on the ground here locally.
Excellent. Thank you, Dwayne. And now, John, describe your position. Now, we've got a veteran who needs a job. What's the other aspect of it?
Well, after Dwight and I confer, and he tells me I've got this veteran or so many veterans, and they've got these kind of skills, and this is kind of what they're looking for. What I do is I go out into the community and I talk to the businesses and the local government and see what's going on. We prefer to try to push state, city, and county jobs, but there are other jobs out there also. And I'll literally go to the business, sit down with their HR, and ask them what they're looking for, and urge them to hire a veteran or try to place a veteran in that position. We have a thing lately. It's been called veteran-friendly employers. You'll see at the end of everybody's little statement, equal opportunity employer. Well, we're trying to get so it says veteran-friendly employer on the bottom. And what that does essentially is when they go in and they do their word search or their job search, they can type in veteran, and hopefully those kind of jobs will pop up. And people want to go where they're going to feel welcome. I'm not saying that all employers aren't welcoming. It's just from the ones that I'm talking to so far, this is what we're trying to push towards them. So eventually we'll get it out there to everybody. So.
Now, every county or every state, that's being very inclusive, I realize. But does every county have positions like yours?
Every county in Minnesota.
In Minnesota?
But we have very few LVERs, local veteran employment representatives. There's 16 in the state, and there's 60-some counties.
Yes.
I alone have 10 counties and 4 offices. So I travel around the whole southeast area, and there's many of us, many people just like me out there doing the same thing.
Sure.
So.
And that is a worthy goal, to be available where the veterans are and help the veterans connect with a job. Do you find organizations, businesses that are not as friendly as you would like?
I haven't seen any yet.
That's wonderful.
And I hope to not see any.
The legislature has been working on a law to help teachers to obtain tenure. After they've been in the service, they've come back and they found that the position was not, they had to start over from zilch.
There's a couple things that are in that. I'm not really too familiar with what's going on in legislation right now. My aspect is let's just get veterans into some jobs. There's the 5-year reciprocity for police officers, so if you're an MP or a guard or security while you were in the military, shore patrol even, you can come in, and with that experience, there's a waiver for that, but you have to have 5 years of that kind of duty behind you in order to become a police officer, state patrol, or sheriff's deputy sheriff.
So between the two of you, you try to make the connection, so to speak, from both angles, right?
Right. I work with individuals. John works a lot with the employers, and John also works with individuals too, so he has knowledge of that too.
That's a great team. That's a great team. Anything special you'd like to add that we haven't covered that's a problem or a positive?
Well, we have our TAP program. Minnesota has just been recognized as one of the few states that has an actual transitioning assistance program, MTAP, they like to call it. What it is it's for veterans that have been recently separated, like National Guards and Reserves, that have not had the opportunity to go through such a program. Most active duty members will go through this program through their own branch. But the National Guard and the Reserve, different entities, so they came up with this program, and it based upon going through resumes. It's 3 days, pretty intense, and they go through financial planning, job searches, interviewing processes. There's many, many more. They just got that going and on its way. It's been in transition for, what, a year or so?
A year or two,
yeah, and it's finally been approved.
Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure talking to you. I'd like to stay in touch with you on this reintegration for families and returnees as well. And maybe we'll be seeing more of you as you connect with us.
Okay.
Thanks to you so much for this time together.
Thank you.
Well, Brad tells me he's missed the turkey season for hunting for the Thanksgiving bird, so you'll have to go to the grocery store.
Hunting at the grocery store.
Hunting at the grocery
in
store.
your grocer's freezer.
Okay. And we do hope that you all have a most blessed Thanksgiving experience, perhaps with your loved ones, perhaps not. And in our thoughts always are those military who are away from their families and are in our prayers. And we do hope they will return and the war will be over once again. Thank you for joining us. See you next month for Vets Visits on TV. Thank you for joining us for this month's show. Seen in over 350 communities for over 3,500 half-hour periods. Our websites have additional information about the show and are updated bi-monthly. To contact us, you are welcome to use one of these electronic methods. For all ground mail with questions, suggestions for future programs, you may use this address. Our IRS nonprofit status is 501c3, Information Education. The Minnesota Commissioner of VA and these state-level organizations believe in and endorse Vets Visits. Join us next time, won't you, for Vets Visits on TV.